So you clicked on this video because you want to know when one of these would launch. So here, let me show you. Well, so here's the website I personally use to figure out when a rocket's going to launch. It's called rocketlaunch.live, and don't worry, I will have a link in the description, or you can just look it up yourself. It tells you the recent launches, when something's going to launch. It has stats, which we will look at in a second, and it has when something was modified, such as if something, let's say Starlink was going to launch on the 19th at 7 p.m. at Vandenberg. Then all of a sudden something happens and like there's bad weather, so they now have to do August 21st. We'll go with 21st, and now it's going to launch at 3 a.m. So it's really just one night. That's what happens a lot of the time. It'll be one night. Most of the time it would just be the next day, 24 hours later, because that's normally how window times work. Sometimes it changes if there's already supposed to be a launch that day. And then it will tell you under the modified. See if I click modified, show when something's last modified. And so we can see Starlink is supposed to launch tonight. As of recording, it is August 17th. And we can also see some other very cool launches, which are supposed to happen August 25th, 8:34 p.m. I do not know how to pronounce this. It's somewhere in Japan. And a private space company, I do not know the name unfortunately, is supposed to launch a lunar lander. This is the second time they've tried, because the first time unfortunately failed. And so this will be the second time. Hopefully it works. They'd be the first private company to land something on the moon. So that'd be huge. Another big thing is Firefly, the company, is launching their Rocket Alpha again. I don't know exactly if it was a failure the first time or if it was a partial failure. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they do launch in August. And then if you were following either my Twitter or Instagram, Tranche is going to be launching, hopefully by the end of August, although by the fact that they haven't put a date down means it could be postponed to September, but you never know. Still 14 days left, so we'll see there. And so some interesting things, so make sure, so some interesting things I wanted to show to people is some of the recent launches, and something to tell you. Very important is if you are looking for launches from China, mostly China, they will not tell you until no more than a week beforehand. Most of the time it'll be 4 or 5 days. Such as this one. This wasn't the only one that gave, I think they gave 5 or 6 days before it happened. One of these, I want to say it was one of these two. These are both China. You can see it says China right here. I don't think it was more than a day or two in advance before they launched. And that's when they told people. Or like that's when you could see it on the website. China has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 launches this month, which is quite a few for China. China, let's look, if we can look at stats, you can see China normally launches on average 4 to 6, give or take 1 or 2. And you can see 36 launches is quite a decent bit for one country. USA obviously 64 because of SpaceX. And yes, USA does not just mean NASA, it means NASA, it means SpaceX, it means Rocket Lab, it means any company based off USA. That is the one thing I think interesting, because Rocket Lab is technically based out of New Zealand. I don't know why it's like that, but I'm not the one who does all the work, so I'm not going to complain. And so I didn't really realize this until I looked at this, but quite recently, China actually launched more than the US. And another interesting thing is, Arianespace used to launch a lot more than they do now. So if we look at this year, where's Arianespace? 2. Only 2. And the reason being for this is they don't have their rocket, their Ariane 6 done yet. So if we go to the launch schedule, I think they're supposed to do it hopefully this year, but it might be next year. Where is it? Did I see it? No. But you can scroll. It goes really far. Ariane 6. So Q1 2024. As you can see, it says vehicle debut test flight. and you can go down pretty far, and you can see quite a few really cool things. You go all the way down, you see November 2024, Artemis 2. You're down to 2025. SLS, Artemis 3. You can see Haven 1, first commercial space station, protected. You can see quite a few cool things. You see Neutron, Rocket Lab's new rocket, which will be pretty much the Falcon 9, but much cheaper. Not much cheaper. I think it was $53 million per launch, which is cheaper than I think the $90 million for Falcon 9. That'd be a massive step down, which is really good. And so yeah, very useful website. And so I hope this helps you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notifications for future videos related to space. See ya.